Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Netflix's new film, The Devil All the Time. And this is from Antonio Campos, who wrote the screenplay and directed this film, from author Donald Ray Pollock, who acts as the narrator in this film. And this has a stacked cast. Netflix didn't pull out any road like checkpoints and just nope, they went for it. They gunned it down this road and got Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Jason Clarke, all these female actors from Haley Bennett to Riley Keough to who else? Maya Wasikowska, Eliza Scanlon. You have Bill Skarsgård. There's a lot of actors in this, and they're all playing all of the men. Oh, and Sebastian Stan. All the men are playing complex, layered characters. Most of the women, unfortunately, are pretty wasted, where they're just kind of flat. They're there to be like sacrificial lambs most of the time. Because here's the thing. This film is grim and dark and hits on levels of a horror movie, like a slasher movie where you're like, okay, who's going down next? And that's a very loaded comment about this film, because I don't want to give anything away, but to talk about that, like the tone of this film, it's dark throughout. And there's no real sense of light, and you're going for 2 hours and 20 minutes of just darkness. There might be little moments where characters are connecting with each other, right before they're just ripped away from you. And the thing is, you're so shocking, these terrible events that happen, but they only are shocking through half the film, because after a while, it just becomes, who's next? What's next? What possibly can happen next? Something bad's going to have to happen to this person, this person, this person. Who's next? And I felt like it lost some tension for me as the film went on, because I just felt like I was expecting something bad to happen to certain characters, and in certain situations I'm like, well, seen it plenty of times already, something's going to happen, and then that tension's gone. And it made me sad, because I was really into this film for the good first half of this film before it started getting repetitive in that way. It's really trying to hammer home these themes of just doesn't matter. Bad things happen to everyone, anyone and everyone, good people, bad people, and horrible occurrences that you wouldn't expect, but then become more expected because they just keep happening, and just the ideas of fate. And it takes a very hard look at religion and faith in that way, because there's a lot of traveling preachers in this film. Harry Melling, who I didn't mention before, plays one, and in this really expertly crafted sequence, because Antonio Campos is a great director, and you can tell he knows how to build tension and suspense and really work a scene. There's a scene where Melling's character is giving a sermon, and just how intensely the camera holds on to him, and the framing of the scene, and Melling just going at it from an acting perspective, and it's building up to a point where something off screen comes into view and just comes as a shock and just really caps that scene and its intentions. And the filmmaking is so well done. The story is a very complex structure, and in general I kept up with it. But like I said, a lot of what was happening became really repetitive, and what you would expect that kind of lost that suspense. Obviously I mentioned before, but it never lost that craftful way of how it's telling the story. So it's a hard middle ground. There's a lot of things I loved about this film, and then there's other things that really bothered me about this film. One in particular was the narration. It felt so needless. I understand in a book, which it's the author narrating the film, that you need to tell me how these characters are feeling, their inner monologues. This is a film. trust in the actors to portray the emotions, because they did. They were giving fantastic performances, but this narration just completely negated that scene because it just felt heavy-handed and distracting. When I can look at Tom Holland, who's giving one of the best performances I've ever seen from him, intensity, I can see it in him. I don't need you to tell me in this narration. And it got really distracting and annoying. But Tom Holland's great. Robert Pattinson is great with his really like high-pitched, squeaky kind of southern accent. He's just disgusting in this film. Bill Skarsgård, like this film starts off, hits you hard, especially centered around his character. And he goes to some dark places. This film, like I mentioned, goes to these dark places. And I think the title is trying to get at the fact that it's like you never know when bad things are going to come. It's devil all the time. Anywhere, anytime. And in general, it's long. It's just unrelenting dark. Darkness just pounding on you for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And if you're okay with taking that ride and you could get past the narration and just the constant bombardment of horrible things happening that's just punishing you and the characters, then definitely check this out. It's on Netflix. You can stream it. If you're not about that kind of ride, you might want to pass on The Devil All the Time. But I really liked Antonio Campos's writing and how he directed this film. Made some choices that didn't really work for me, but in general, I want to see more from him. But in the end, The Devil All the Time is a bit of a mixed bag. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.